you once again. I am Prisca Nwokorie, reaching out to you in a moment with Sister Prisca. Today, I want to introduce a place many of you may have heard, many have visited, or probably you may have come from this place. It is the story of UMUAKAGU. You know, we are fond of talking about places like United States of America, Great Britain, or even other developed countries. But today I want to bring to you my hometown. You know, there is always a joy when you remember your place of birth and what you have learned from it. Because your place of birth has significant things to tell about who you are. Because every one of us comes from a home, and each and every one of us come from a community. And in that community defines who we are. We are. We begin to progress and go to other places in order to further our education or to seek for a greater passion in order to make ends meet. So today, the title of our discussion is The Soul of UMUAKAGU. It is a story of a people that you would like to associate with. When I was growing up, there was a song we normally sing, and it was this way. Oh my home, oh my home, oh my home, oh my home. When shall I see my home? Shall I see my home? When shall I see my native land? I will never forget my home. So, dear listeners, if you are proud of your home, if you are proud of where you come from, I would want you in the comment section to tell me the story of your place. Today, I want to talk about my own village, my own community. It is named UMUAKAGU Nsu. It is an autonomous community in the local government of Ehime in Imo State. Try to visit UMUAKAGU Nsu and you are going to enjoy your stay with the things you discover in it. It is interesting that many of us travel to places like Israel or other places of interest to see the things that have existed in the history of the past, or we try to take photographs of places that others have revealed to us that they are places worth remembering. And today, I'm not bringing a great city to you. I am bringing you into a developing community, an autonomous community called UMUAKAGU Nsu. You can Google it. Preferably, you can go and make a visit. And I will assure you that whenever you want to go, you will find yourself not just in a local place, you will find yourself in a welcoming environment. We have a popular market called Oriagu, and whenever you tell somebody that you want to go to Oriagu, you are finding yourself at the heart of UMUAKAGU itself. So if you are just watching, take your seat or share the link with others and listen attentively to the things that we are going to discuss. You will find it interesting, and I will assure you that at the end of this transmission, you will find it worth sharing because this episode will leave you with thoughts that will impress you so much. You will learn to appreciate what you have. Don't let foreigners. Don't let people who don't know your origin tell you the story you are supposed to tell others. Because when we forget our first duty of telling our own stories, we may fall victims of allowing people to tell false stories about who we are. And by the time we realize it, it will be so sad and so late for us to correct the wrongs. That is the reason I am taking out time to tell you about UMUAKAGU Nsu. It is an autonomous community. Every community possesses two histories. One is carefully preserved in records, in maps, family lineage, and the patient work of historians. It tells us when people arrived, how settlements grew, who led them, and how one generation gave way to another. Such history is indispensable. Without it, memory becomes uncertain and identity slowly loses its anchor. That is, however, any history that seldom appears in official record. It lives in the habits people practice without instruction, in the greeting exchange along familiar paths, in the stories grandparents refuse to let disappear, in the wisdom hidden within the proverbs, and even in the culture that shaped childhood long before education begins, and in the quiet understanding that neighbors belong not merely beside one another, but also to one another. This history cannot be measured or by dates or boundaries. Yet it is often the one that leaves us with deepest mark upon a people. It is the history of character. It is the history of human spirit within community. This episode or this story is an invitation for you to explore that second history. I want to let you know that one of the reasons our elders always remind us about the things their fathers or our ancestors did were just to let us know that there are things that cannot be written in books. They are better transferred or transmitted in oral form because they live the originality of the tradition. And that is the reason sometimes we find the elders with the youths or even the younger generation coming together at the village square to tell stories, to make shows. And in those shows, they learn a lot of learning because many things come from the elders and they are hidden wisdom that no school, no amount of education will reveal to you. That is one of the best reasons why we need to give accurate and proper attention to our elders. Don't allow the history of your place to pass by without you knowing where you come from, the origin of your place, why your parents bear a particular surname, why you are being called whom you are. Remember, in the Igbo culture, our names tell a story. It tells who we are. It reveals the hidden secret of our own destiny if we are careful. Because in each name every child is being given, it is not given accidentally. It comes with a purpose. And if we listen to the parents of the child, they will tell you the reason they gave certain names. Parents who come from the Igbo culture don't give their children names based on what they see in the movies or things they just see casually. They give names with meaning. That is the reason when you see a child who bears the name Onyinye Chukwu, It reminds you that that child is a gift from God. And when you find someone who bears the name Ikechukwu, God friends, every name has a meaning. In as much as they may sound somehow too common, you will discover that there was a reason behind that name a parent decide giving to their own child. And if you find out from them, you will be able to know why your name is so precious. If you find someone who bears the name Odiwe, it is kind of trying to tell you that death brings sadness. But in one of those things, people say their name into BC, telling you that life is the beginning of everything. Take a moment to reflect about your name, the names of people you have come across. If you take out little time to question them, why did your parents give you this name? You will be able to find that the reason behind their names is beyond what you might have thought. That is one of the things you will discover. That in the community of Omakagu, this autonomous community, we don't do things just because we are prompted. There is always an inspiration, there is always a tradition, and there is always a common good that is being respected among the people. Because whatever is being done as a whole, together as a community, lasts longer than the generation in which that event is being done. It remains and it passes from stage to stage. When I was growing up, my father belonged to a group, his age group. You know, in the Igbo culture, we have age grades, and each age grade they have between a particular ages that they group together. Probably they will group three people, 3 years together. For example, those born in 1970, 1971, and 1972. They will form an age grade. And then the children born within that range form what we call an age grade. They understand themselves, they do things just like brothers and sisters, and in that they work for a common good, not just only for their own interest, but the good of the community. My father belonged to an age grade that is called Aha Oma Koba. That is a great name is better than wealth. That alone tells you that whatever any of them is doing, it is always good for you to preserve your identity, your dignity, because it tells more than ordinary riches that may pass by without giving way to anything that will dent your own image. So with this, we continue with our own discussion because when I talk about Umakago, I feel that joy within me because it is like me telling you my family, and I love it so much. So the aspect which I still want to relate to you is that when you explore this second history, it is not an acting to replace the carefully historical work already written by those who may have documented the story of Omakago and the wider Nsu community. Their scholarship remains the foundation upon which every responsible writers must build on. This reflection is only an eye opener to tell you certain things that may have not been written, but we all know the story, that we find it joyful to share with you. Because if you are ashamed to tell your stories, that means you are not happy with your own person. To tell people who you are is to unveil your true identity without any reservation. It means you are proud or you are happy with the education your family have given you. It is because you have that joy to tell the world, here I come, this is my place, come and visit anytime you like, anytime you want. Because one peculiar thing about this autonomous community, Omakago, is that they welcome visitors just like their own brothers because they understand that we are sojourners in this existential world. And wherever we find ourselves, we have to be good to others because we can never tell tomorrow when we visit or we welcome God in our homes. The scripture tells us that whatever you do to the least of my brothers, you do unto me. Welcoming others is another way of trying to open your doors to God, and you can never tell the blessings that follow it. Abraham received his own blessing when he welcomed the visitors, the strangers who were passing, and he asked them to stop by and have something to eat before they continued their journey. After having treated them well, gave them something to eat. Before those strangers left, they left him with a blessing. By this time next year, we shall have a child. And that has been one of the blessings God promised Abraham, and it came to fulfillment just after those moments that Abraham showed kindness to the visitors. This is one of the things you will find in the community of Umakago and the people around it because it is part of us. Our parents have done the same and they have nurtured us in that way. Whether we are at home, we are in abroad, or wherever we find ourselves, we always have that spirit to welcome other people. What kind of people has Umakago sought to form? Which value have enabled the community to endure through changing generations? What memories continue to shape its sons and daughters long after they have journeyed far beyond boundaries? And what might widen the world learns is that whose greatest inheritance cannot be weighed or counted. God is the giver of all things, and He is the one who strengthens every nation, who strengthens every community. Because the song tells us if God does not guard the home, in vain does the laborers guard. And because of it, we have to know that we need to be our own brother's keeper. Every village is more than the land upon which it stands. It is a conversation between those who came before us and those who are yet to come. The living inherit not only farms, homes, names, and tradition, but also responsibilities. Each generation receives a legacy shaped by countless ordinary lives and quietly decides whether that legacy will be diminished, preserved, or enriched before passing it onward. In that way, communities are never built only by remarkable events, they are built over time until they become the character of the people. The story of Umakago is no exception. Its history has been shaped by labor and learning, celebration and sorrow, faith and perseverance, continuity and change. Like every enduring community, it has witnessed moments that strengthens its bonds and seasons that tested them. It has welcomed new ideas while striving to preserve ancient wisdom. It has watched children become elders, neighbors become ancestors, and familiar footprints become roots. leading to distant cities and nations. Through each season, one question has remained constant: how does a community remain itself while the world around it continues to change? It is one of those things that we learn from home that carries us wherever we go. Whether we are still in the same village, whether we find ourselves in other cities or even in other nations, that oneness, brotherliness still keeps us. That is the reason whenever you hear about certain ceremonies, you will be longing to visit home. Talk about the cultural dance, Wiba, or you can talk about Okonko. You can talk about every other festival, Iwapa, and many other beautiful things. What about Tumbomozo? Dear friends, you need to visit Umakagu to find out more about what I'm telling to you at this very moment. The answer cannot be found in nostalgia alone. Communities do not honor their past by resisting every change, nor do they secure their future by forgetting everything that came before. Wisdom lies in discerning which values are timeless and which persons must adapt so that life may continue to flourish. That delicate balance between remembrance and renewal forms the heartbeat of every community. For this reason, the chapter of our own story follows not a category of achievement nor exercise in settlements. So, dear friends, sorry about the interruption. We are still telling about our own culture, our own tradition, the place of Omakago. Most of the things we learned from our own places carry us along everywhere we are. And we continue to represent our communities home and abroad. And whenever we tell this story, we let people know where we come from. Whenever you see somebody from Omakago, you don't need somebody to tell you that he or she is from there because there is that courage, there is that love, that oneness that always symbolizes or is visible in the character of everyone. When you say Akago, we are there, and it is always joyful to let others know your own story. Don't be ashamed to tell your own story, else, foreigners and other people will tell your own story in a very ugly way, and it is you who will bear the consequence. Telling your own story is another way of appreciating God's goodness in your life. It is another way of letting people know that God has blessed you in His own unique way and that there are things that happen in your life that you always give thanks to God. And with this, it reflects in your own understanding, it reflects in your own relationship, it reflects in the way you do things. And that is one of the things that sustains each and every one of us. What part is the truth about who we are? So, dear friends, talking about UMUAKAGU is another way to encourage every one of us to look beyond the present and to know how better we can help to develop our own communities. Many of us leave our home, we go to other places, either for greener pasture or we go there for business, we go there for studies. We see the development in those places. And we need to bring the good things we see in other people back home and help develop our own nation, to help develop our own communities, and to bring those beautiful things in us. That is the reason our parents took time in order to educate us, to acquaint us with the custom and tradition of our place, so that wherever we go, we always continue with this story and be able to live in the impact of the people around us who will continue solace